Chapter 2, Shadow the Nighthawks. Finally! Chapter 2 of 9 and only 58, I believe, videos in. Alright then. A whisper led him through the madness. He stumbled forward with unfamiliar feet, 10 times too small to belong to a warrior. There were lights on the hills around him, fires, voices shouting through a downpour of sloshing hoofbeats. He reached for his sword and then remembered that he hadn't a sword that night. He only had been a boy of 12 midsummers, only a boy, and yet he led the ragged remains of his father's tribe. "Who leads the Mordor?" the whispering voice insisted in his head. "I must see more." Years, a river of men coursed together in a bleeding tide, and he was amidst them. Screams rang, a howling figure silhouetted himself against the moon, and brandished a bloody sword aloft. The wolfish figure screamed words of wrath and damnation as he cleaved his way through his Mordor brothers. He was Delican, former general Vermandomus. That is such a horrible name. Leader of the unified tribes of the Northlands, and he was the enemy, Gorath. The memory detonated into a million fading thoughts, each fleeing after the faint echoes of a weak whisper. Before him, now, there was a new image, the face of a fair young girl, whose pale blue eyes watched him with weary interest. There were others, too, all seated like himself around a polished council table, all studying, all dissecting, and Gorath was the object of their scrutiny. "I cannot find the truth, my prince," the tired girl whispered finally, quietly. "His mind is chaotic. I find images, but I cannot hold them long enough to understand." Narrowing his dark eyes, Prince Aruthor glared at Gorath. "He hides his thoughts?" "Gorath is Mordor," Pug quickly interceded for his exhausted daughter. "Even with Gamina's exceptional talent for sensing thoughts, his mind may have many innate psychic defenses. I may need to send for one of my advanced students." "No need to disturb studies, Master Magician Pug. The Mordor speaks truly." Council members exchanged surprised glances, then turned their attention to the aged magician seated next to Pug. Lowering his eyes, the man made a dismissive gesture. "Forgive me, I do not mean to presume, but I have looked into his mind as well," the Kalak continued. "War in the kingdom would have many wide-ranging effects, not the least of which could lead to a disruption of trade between our two worlds. My Emperor of Saraniani would be most displeased if our rift-making secrets were seized by barbarians in warfare." Gorath glowered at the Sarani magician. Trading agreements notwithstanding, the Mordor watch your borders. Nighthawks spy on your imperial cousins, and before the snows there shall be an army come to the kingdom. Heed my words, Prince of Krondor. You must prepare your troops. Anger flashed in the thunderheads of Aruthor's eyes as he rose to his feet. And he does look angry. "What I must or must not do will not be dictated by a dissident Mordor. If not for Locklear's good faith in you, I would have had your head staked upon a pole and paraded up and down the low quarters of Krondor once I saw you. I have been tolerant while I listened to your vague speculations based on incidental, half-heard conversations, but how am I to believe what you say? What evidence have you laid before this council to prove what Delican intends to do?" "What evidence? I bear the humiliation of betraying my vow as a Mordor, and the indignity of my surrendering to a sworn enemy." "Why betray Delican to the kingdom of the Isles? Of what benefit to you is it to snare him?" "He is leader in name only, however bitter a draught Delican may be for your kin to drink, magician. His rule is black poison in the gullets of me and mine. Already he enslaves my cousins and rapes the land. Bloody his nose, Prince of Krondor, blunt his swords, and the unified tribes will cast him down in wrath. Let him cross your northern border, however, and 10 other clans will join their strength to his, and the legacy of Mohammedanus will but will be but a spark next to his glory. Where would you have me send my troops? If indeed he intends to strike against one of our northernmost possessions, which castle shall I garrison for the attack? High Castle? Iron Pass? North Warden? If I am to fight a war by my teeth, tell me where would you have me fight it? Would that I could tell you. Delican holds in good confidence only a handful of cowering dogs, and among them only a few are privy to his war plans. His private councils are restricted to choice individuals. His advisors Nerb and Nago, his mistress Lillian, his son Morelf, and Nighthawks. He keeps foul company, that leader of yours. Your Highness, if you give me leave, I believe I can find the evidence of Delican's intent. I will need someone to accompany me to Romney and supplies for my journey and a small parcel of gold. Romney? What do you think you can find in a provincial river town in the heart of the kingdom? I aim to catch a bird in flight. Of late, Delican has emptied a good deal of his treasury to revive the services of Nighthawks. In exchange, he has demanded tactical information about kingdom holdings. He's turned the Guild of Assassins into a guild of spies? Only for a time, although the payments have been left in various hidden locales. The messengers were always sent to a rendezvous in Romney. If I go there, I may be able to intercept information concerning a forthcoming attack. Would such evidence suffice? Perhaps. Damn me, but I don't trust you, Gorath. How do I know that this isn't a plot of yours? We can weigh the evidence to our heart's content, and your cousins could be slitting the throats of my serfs as we sit dawdling. Go to Romney, but you will provide for yourself. If this is part of some secret mortal scheme, I'll not look the fool before the world. Pug, unroll the map for me.